to this meeting of the Planning Authority Committee for Devonport City Council. It's the 16th of November and it's 5 o'clock. All persons in attendance are advised that it's council policy to record council meetings in accordance with council's digital recording policy. The audio recording of this meeting will be made available to the public on council's website for a minimum period of 6 months. And just to note that we are live streaming this meeting. Item 1 on the agenda is apologies, and we have an apology from Councillor Milborn, and I will notice that as well as the committee members, Councillor Laycock and Councillor Jarman are attendance. Moving on, item 2 is declarations of interest. Do I have any declarations of interest in any items?
You do, Mayor.
Councillor Perry.
Item 4.2.
Thank you. Are there any other declarations of interest in this agenda? No? Moving on, item 3.1 is delegated approvals of planning applications approved under this authority for the 24th of August to the 31st of October. And I'll ask for a mover and seconder of the recommendation that the delegations be received.
So moved.
Second.
Perry, Councillor Hollister. Any comments, Councillor Perry?
No, merely procedural, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Perry. Anything to add?
Nothing further, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? Councillor Perry.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion's carried unanimously. Item 4 is development reports, and item 4.1 is item PA 2020.0178 at 3 Chalmers Lane, Devonport. Do I have a mover of the recommendation, please?
So moved.
Councillor Perry, thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Councillor Murphy, thank you. Councillor Perry.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, it's all in the report. There was one representation expressing some concern that's been adequately answered by our planning department. So I'm actually looking forward to this development going ahead, and along there, may there be more. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Yeah, I concur with Councillor Perry in relation to representation and how it has been answered, and see no further issue in this particular development.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? Councillor Perry, closed.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, Councillor Perry. Moving on to item 4.2. Item 4.2 is PA 2020.0170 at 89 North Street, Devonport. Do I have a mover of the recommendation, please?
So moved.
Councillor Hollister. Do I have a seconder?
Happy to second.
Councillor Alexio, thank you. Councillor Hollister.
Yes, this can be approved with conditions. It's all in the report, so I've got nothing further to add.
Thank you, Councillor Alexio.
Nothing further, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments from anyone? Councillor Jarman, did you have a question or comment?
So this is 4.2?
Yes.
Yeah, I've just got a couple of questions, if I may, through you, Chair, to perhaps Ms. Lunsmore-Smelly. Thank you. I suppose what I'd like to understand is, I get that we look at the winter time, when the days are the shortest, and when you're taking away from people that have lived in a property for a very, very long time and always enjoyed the sun in the mornings, how do we come to a decision that it's okay for them to lose the sunlight in the morning until 10 o'clock in the morning? That's the first question, if that's all right.
Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, and through the chair. So, thanks for your question, Councillor Jarman. I guess, so the only discretion we're dealing with this application, there is one variation to the building envelope, and yes, it will result in some overshadowing in the morning hours to that property. However, the performance criteria talk about being, I guess, an issue. Performance criteria talks about reduction in 3 hours of sunlight, I guess, Ida shadowing in this case is only until 10 a.m. and the rest of the day they're afforded adequate sunlight. So
I guess if you're used to seeing the sun in the mornings and you're used to enjoying the sun in the mornings when you're having breakfast, it just makes a big difference to the people that have lived there a long time. So you can see why it's a difficult decision. The other question I have is, what about for privacy too? Of this building that's being built right next door to 3 Tingella, are the windows high enough so that it allows privacy? Has that been taken into consideration?
Thank you, Councillor Chan. Mr. Manley?
yeah, back through the chair. Yeah, it certainly has. So the planning scheme has a development standard for privacy of the dwellings, and in this case, the windows have an appropriate sill height to meet acceptable requirements. So
they won't be overlooking their neighbours.
So pretty much the development satisfies the privacy requirements.
Okay. So when these come to us, I suppose my last question is there any reason why we can't suggest to the architect, you don't need to actually build right next door to these people, you could have gone forward in the block, or does that never come to us as something that we can suggest?
Back through the chair. Yeah, I guess it's certainly something we have that discussion usually on a prelim basis, and most applicants are aware that yes, there is that, I guess, pathway to go through the discretionary planning process, which is what they've elected to do this time. And I guess the planning scheme's got that set of rules to have that subjective assessment, and in this case it's been determined it can satisfy the performance criteria.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nothing further.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Question.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just in relation to the copy of the plan that's provided on page 30, I'm assuming that the dotted line that indicates the building envelope there, it just seems that the indication, so we've got the permitted eave protrusion, which is however much. Is that correct? Is that dotted line the building envelope or not? That we can see on that particular drawing on page 30, that actually highlights with the blue circle of the building envelope protrusion. I'm just trying to ascertain as to where the building envelope is, whether it's the red line or whether it's the grey line or whether it's the short dashed line.
Mr. Manley?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because from my perspective, and I know obviously the recommendation and the criteria is met, and that's very difficult for us as a planning committee to sort of go against, if all has been met. But in this particular instance, that particular image there, if the building envelope is the light grey dashed line, probably not really that accurate in relation to providing the actual protrusion area, because it would be a bit bigger than that.
Yeah, through the chair, if I may. Thanks for your question, Councillor Murphy. Yeah, so you're correct there. The grey line indicates the acceptable three-dimensional building envelope, where the red line's indicating what we call the permitted eaves protrusions. Under the planning scheme, you can have protrusions such as eaves, which aren't considered part of the building envelope. So I guess in this case, there is a little bit of a variation there. But then if you go down to the next page on that report, I think it's the western elevation, the grey indicated area shows the actual building envelope sort of variation looking along from which is the variation from the neighbour's property, Tingella Place.
Yeah, so that's the actual part of the building, which is a considerable amount of the building is outside of the building envelope. Whereas if you're looking at it from the northern aspect, if you like, that sort of picture, yes, we've got that acceptable amount, but there is for the eave protrusion, but it's not an eave that's protruding, it's an actual wall.
Yes, I guess.
But that meets the criteria though.
Yeah, through the chair. So obviously, certainly on that northern aspect and the western aspect, there is a building envelope intrusion. Hence why this is the discretionary element for this application, and that's been assessed against the performance criteria to comply.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I have one more question, if I may. Sorry. Thank you. Forgive me. Just one more. Sorry. apparently the history of the two properties, between the two properties, as in Gingella and this 89 North, there were a row of trees, and the trees apparently have been cut down and the root system is still in there. So do we have any kind of protection on the construction, that if those trees are then lifted during construction, that there will be some kind of detriment to the property next door? Do we know of anything like that? Or you do, Ms Lunson? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Lunson.
Yeah, through the chair, the protection works for your neighbour is covered under the building code.
Okay.
So that'll be a consideration for the building surveyor when they're constructing on site.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Councillor Hollister, just taking one.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any against? The motion's carried unanimously. Thank you, and I think that brings us to the end of our planning committee meeting. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for those of you in the gallery.